I got really good at hiding. After an experience that I had with my guidance counselor, which we won't go into too much detail today, I got really, really good at hiding. And then when I wanted to start my business, I realized that hiding was not going to cut it. I realized that if I wanted to bring help and assistance and serve the people that I was called to serve, I needed to be visible. I needed to be found. So, what I want to share with you today in this conversation, sincerely speaking, are the three main things that kept me from expanding my visibility when I first started, and the things I realized and I did in order to move past those things and get into the space where I could be visible and bring my service out to the people I was called to serve. You need confidence to move forward. Without confidence, you can't really achieve that dream, desire, calling, or lofty element, venture that you've had in your heart to do. Have you heard that before? That's what most experts and gurus out there sell you. Well, I have a slightly different take on it. I believe that you and I can create a feeling and a sense of confidence on demand that can propel us forward without us having to jump through all the hoops and try to figure out all the things that the gurus never really tell you how to do anyway. So if you have been struggling with this notion that you need more confidence, or if you simply have a goal, a dream, an aspiration, a movement, something that you want to start in this world, an impact that you want to have in others, and an influence that you want to use to support and help and do some good out there in the world, then I invite you to head on over to confidence.marciamaro.com, where you are going to find an amazing offer for my course, Confidence on Demand, which will give you the three secrets to generating that feeling and that sense of confidence when and where you need it. So again, head on over to confidence.marciamaro.com and take advantage of this opportunity to generate and create confidence when and where you need it. And in the meantime, stick around and chat with me here on Sincerely Speaking. See you soon. One of my really good friends sent me a link to a video by Gary Vee. I don't know if you know who Gary Vee is, but he's a great, well known marketer. Some people really love him, some people really dislike him, but nobody can deny that he knows what he's talking about. The point is that the video that my friend sent me the link to was all about how fear is this insidious thing that is killing the possibility for people out there, and that it's being made worse and worse and worse by the opinions of others. And I started to think about the fact that that's what was holding me back the most at the beginning. Even this idea that I got to hide, that I had to stop talking and stop putting myself out there, that emerged from an experience that I had in high school, was based on the fear of other people's perceptions and the fear of other people's opinions. It was about paying more attention to what other people thought or felt than about what I got to offer and the way in which I got to help people. So when I understood that I was still allowing these people from my past to have power over my present and over my ability to live out my calling and to serve people at the highest level, that's when I started to realize that I needed to make some shifts and that I needed to accept and work on certain things and normalize certain things in order to move forward and become more visible. So just to be clear, I'm not going to recommend a certain platform here today. Today, I am not going to tell you how many times to post where in order to be visible. In fact, one of the things we're going to be talking about today is that one of the things that held me back the most was trying to be everywhere at once and trying to listen to everybody's opinions of what the best platform was for me to use in my business, right? So what I want to talk about really is mindset shifts or self-leadership shifts, ways in which I started operating and ideas and notions and beliefs that I started operating from and moving away from that allowed me to be in front of a camera, be in front of an audience, whatever that audience looked like, and deliver my message and liberate my voice so that I could become visible regardless of the platform, right? So the first thing that I want us to understand is that what keeps people from being visible the most is this fear of being rejected or being misunderstood. Of being rejected or being misunderstood. So, the mindset shift here that I had to go into and that I am inviting you to explore is to expect to offend and to repel. Expect to offend and to repel. Now, I am not saying deliberately go out there and be offensive. I'm not saying deliberately go out there and turn off people. That is a tactic that some people use. That is a tactic that works for some. But if it's not in your nature, if you are starting from a space of being worried that you're going to be rejected, then going to the other extreme of deliberately trying to get people to reject you and to be repelled by you, it's a bit much and it's unnecessary, really. But the reality here is that if you are in any position to share your thought leadership, if you're in any position to say what you believe, if you're in any position to share what your experience has been, there are always going to be people that doubt you. There are always going to be people that think that you are full of it. There are going to be people that don't believe you. And there are going to be people that are offended by whatever it is that you have to say. They might think, oh, well, that's easy for you because you are of whatever gender, of whatever race, of whatever. That's easy for you to say because you've never been poor or you've always been poor or whatever the case may be. There will always be people who will find a reason to be offended by you and you want to repel certain people. When I first started my business, I had this desire to help everybody, right? And I really hurt when people rejected what I had to offer. And I took it very personally. And I wanted to get people to like me no matter what. It doesn't matter where they were from. I just wanted them to like me. So anytime I had an enrollment conversation or a sales call and people said no, I would go into this whole spiral of, oh, wait, I'll offer them a discount. Or wait, if they want this, I'll give them this. Or no, wait, if they need this, I'll give them that. And what I ended up doing was pandering. I ended up just trying to comply with what other people wanted from me, which didn't necessarily meet who I am, who I wanted to be, or what I had to offer that could actually elevate and help people. So I realized that I was doing them and myself a disservice by doing this, and that the best thing I could do was repel the people that didn't really match my message. And so I shifted my conversations, and instead of looking at them as how can I convince them that I'm the best? How can I convince them to like me? I would start the conversation from a standpoint of this is an audition, and I'm checking to see if that person is the right fit for the part that I have to offer, for the part that's available. If they're not the right fit, then I'm going to say thank you, but no thank you. And it's up to them too. Like, even if they are the right fit, it's their choice whether they want to take that part or not. Right. So I started looking at things differently, and my mindset shifted from instead of trying to avoid offending people and trying to avoid people rejecting me, I started to expect and anticipate and even welcome the fact that some people would be offended by my message and would be repelled by my message, because that narrowed down and it left me with only those people who could truly benefit from what I have to offer and who would be a good match and a good fit that I would enjoy working with and they would enjoy working with me. Make sense? So the second thing, the second mindset is that in this space, and I already mentioned that a little bit, in this space where there are so many opinions and you don't want to fall prey to cancel culture and you don't want to be rejected offhand, we tend to try to water down or filter our message so that more people will agree with what we have to say, right? The problem is, and I realize this, and I'm going to share a story of how in a second, but the problem is that if everybody agrees with you and everybody already thinks the same way you do, then there's no reason for anybody to follow you or to listen to what you have to say. See, I started to realize when I was in the space of pandering and of trying to be everything to everybody and of trying to please people more than offer what I had to offer, that I would post something and I would get 10 or 20 comments, but they were all from people who were saying different versions of the same thing I just said. And they were mentioning other people who were teaching the same thing that I had just mentioned in my post or my reel or whatever the case may be. And so I realized that these comments were not helping me because all they were doing was highlighting how I was like everybody else, how I sounded like so many other people out there, how I was just one more in a pool of a million people saying pretty much the same thing. And I had no leverage there. I had no reason why they should follow me when there were more famous, more experienced, more gifted, more talented people saying the same thing, right? So that's when I understood that I needed to shift my perspective and I needed to shift the way I showed up so that I could assume a posture or a stance that was my own, even when that meant that it went against some of what other people said, even if it meant that it went against some of the way other people believed. That's when I started talking about how you don't need confidence to move forward, how confidence is not what people claim it is, how confidence is not the prerequisite or the first step, how confidence is something that you build. And you can create a sense of confidence on your body whenever you need it. And that's what my course, my mini course on Create Confidence on Demand is all about. And you can go to confidence.marciamaro.com to check it out if you want to. But the point is that you get to take a stance, take a posture, say what you truly believe, and teach what you truly believe. And that is what's going to separate you from the pack. That is what's going to help you create a blue ocean, like Russell Brunson and a lot of other people talk about, in the middle of a red ocean that's filled with the blood from all the sharks. It's a gross analogy, but anyway, you get the point. So you get to assume a posture or a stance. You get to believe what you believe, and you get to say what you believe, and you get to be in integrity and in authenticity when you do so, because that is what's going to help you stand out. And then the next thing is that presence and conviction are what matter, not the platform. And I kind of hinted at the beginning that I'm not going to suggest a specific platform. One of the things that I did that set me back instead of moving me forward was first trying to listen to everybody's opinion out there. And if you look at the people who are selling strategies, they're going to support the strategy that they want to sell, right? So go all in on YouTube, go all in on Instagram, go all in on Facebook, go all in on whatever. There is a group of people that I followed for a while, and I'm not going to mention them, that they talked about being omnipresent and trying to be ubiquitous, trying to be everywhere all the time for everybody. That is going to burn you out faster than anything unless you have a huge team. Right. So, what I learned was that presence and conviction are more important than the platform and even more important than the rate of consistency. Yes, being consistent is important for visibility. Yes, figuring out a pattern and a rhythm for posting and for being found is important. But even more important than that is the presence and the conviction that you bring into how you show up. So it's not about the when and the where as much as it is about the how you show up. It's about the person, the who that you become, and the person that you perceive, that you present, so that you can be perceived a certain way. Yes. So when you start being fully present, fully there in the moment. And whatever you say with the conviction of believing that what you're saying is the way that has worked for you and that has worked for the other people that you have helped, then it doesn't really matter how often you show up or which platform you pick. Now, in terms of the platform, and this is a little bonus, right? For visibility, we always think of what platform and how often. In terms of the platform, pick the one that brings you joy and that you also know you can find your ideal customer in, right? So if your ideal customer is not the younger crowd, then maybe Snapchat might not be the best platform for you. But if your audience is not older, Gen X, boomers type of, and I say that in the best way possible, right? If your audience is not an older audience, then Facebook might not be the best platform, right? If your audience is not professional, right? If your audience is college kids, and even then, but if your audience is not more of the professional corporate vibe, then LinkedIn might not be worth your time. Make sense? But even within those things, find the platform that best fits who you are. Me, for instance, I don't really like LinkedIn. It's not my vibe, even though I work with a lot of executives and a lot of corporate people, but I find them other ways. If I liked LinkedIn, that might be the best place for me to post, but I don't. So you find whatever fits your groove. Find your groove in terms of where you post and when you post. If you don't have that much time to create posts on the daily, if you don't have that much time to be on there all the time, maybe Instagram is not the best. maybe you find other alternatives, right? Remember, there are plenty of platforms, some more popular than others, but at the end of the day, you need to find what best fits who you are and how you want to show up. And it is all most important, or it is all enhanced, right, by your presence and your conviction. That is what really matters the most, the how you show up, the who you become when you are in front of that camera or in front of that platform, in front of that audience, so that they feel from you your charisma, your presence, your authority, your credibility, because of the presence and conviction that you bring into it. All right. So it is important to be visible. It is important to decide how you're going to be visible and how you're going to show up. But when you are determining your visibility strategy, where you're going to post, how often you're going to post, what it is that you're going to be talking about, keep in mind these three mindsets and keep them present. First, expect to offend and repel. It's actually a good thing. The more you offend and repel the wrong type of people, the more space you leave for the right type of people to find you. Second, assume a specific posture or stance. Don't try to cater to everybody or pander to people. Make sure that you are expressing what you really believe and why you believe it, and that you are taking a stance for what is right from your perspective and from your experience. And last but not least, find your groove. Show up with presence and conviction, regardless of the platform, but make sure that you're showing up in the best, strongest, most productive way. I hope you have found this helpful. If you have, please share this with someone you love, and I will see you next time here on Sincerely Speaking.